If you can get to 50, and I think I've just scraped over the line just about, I've got all kinds of things falling off me, then you've done a good job and you can reward yourself a bit.
Hang about. I've reached that. Give that man a Garibaldi. He's talking to me. If you're listening to this on the day it's been released, I shall be on my final day of the photo retreat in the Gambia, flying home later. So I think I shall rightly think of that as my reward. What an opportunity to retreat to Africa with a camera to tell stories. It's been funny recording these things in advance. Not even sure if that's supposed to be in the past tense, because I've no reference point to the adventure I've just had with some wonderful old friends and new friends made during my time away in this magical West African nation of the Gambia. Of course, the idea is that you will be hearing our adventure from some of the audio stories alongside the pictorial stories I and my fellow retreatees have been making. So as much as I really wish you'd have been there with us, and I do, you still get to hear a part of the adventure. I was talking with photojournalist Jason Florio, one of our guides, about next year already, and who knows, maybe we'll be returning to the Gambia. That would be fabulous. But adventures also start with the words, "Do you think we could? Do you think we could?" That seems to be how most of my adventures start. And one of those, "Do you think we could?" mooted going on an Indian great train journey adventure with all that talk of India on last week's show with Giles Penfound. Anyway, watch or listen to this space. Now, this is the final of 3 recorded programs to cover my time away, and today it's another recorded in the presence of sort of show. And it's a very close friend of mine that I go to visit in his hometown, an hour or so away from my own, the beautiful market town of Malmesbury, which I find out, used to be, well, listen on, history to come. The documentary wedding photographer Kevin Mullins then is my guest, whom I've known for many years, around 15, 16, possibly more. We met, of course, through shooting weddings, though Kevin's reputation as a photographer crosses many genres, he being one of Fujifilm's very original camera ambassadors. We have, as you may know, a podcast of our own, the Fujicast, which is still going strong. It's actually just turned 4. I said 5, didn't I? Is it going into its 5th year? See? Maths was never my strong point. It's a project that saw us through the pandemic when we went daily for 3 months of lockdown in the UK. And though we don't touch on that today, I wish we had actually. I'd say that that daily, I almost said task. It didn't really feel like a task. It was a daily thing in our diaries. It was probably one of the most important mental health things we did during that time. Certainly for me, anyway. And actually, it was through that podcast that this one was born. Initially a different title and not a photo walk, granted, but that led to this. Today we talk photographic starts, the kind that has, well, no romance in the traditional sense of finding something amazing like photography and making pictures. We talk about becoming an ambassador for a photographic giant. We talk about faith in more ways than one. Social media, street photography, awards, country music even. And I have a nose around the office that is Kev's domain. He's been on many, if not all, the recognised big photographic podcasts alongside the greats of photography. His appeal is certainly wide, so I am delighted to be talking with my friend Kevin Mullins.
Today on the Photowalk.
The bookings came in the second year. I think I mentioned that first year I did 15. Second year I did 69 weddings. And then after that second year, sat down again with Gemma, and she was like, if you do that again, if you work like that again next year, I'll be divorcing you. As long as everything's covered and, you know, I don't like debt or anything like that, but as long as everybody's happy and safe and sound and healthy, that's enough for me. I don't know, it sounds like a fairy tale. It wasn't, obviously. I feel like we put enough effort into making the right choices and it worked out. A lot of people see social media as a marketing platform and forget the word social. They rang me up and said, Fujifilm Japan have asked if you can go to Tokyo. Are you ready? I went, Yeah, I guess. He said, go, open the door. And I literally walked on stage.
And that is the voice of my friend Kevin Mullins, and I walk with him today as my guest on the Friday Photo Walk. When I say walk, we do, but there's a slight fly in the soup or the coffee, which I'll come to. So before we both spend time with him, I'd like to thank our extra milers and mpb.com who sponsor this show and keep us here week on week. mpb.com is a website I use. You can safely buy, sell and trade quality used photo and video gear online in Europe, in the UK and in the US. And by doing that, you become part of the circular economy, which is important to me personally. If you're buying, you get peace of mind with a 6-month guarantee. And if you're trading or selling, MPB will send a courier to pick up your kit on a day you specify. And once it's arrived back at their warehouse and they've gone through the checks to make sure it's all been graded properly, you get paid direct into your account quickly. mpb.com is a very easy to use website. It's helping photographers to buy a quality used kit or sell gear that we no longer need to free up some cash and give others a chance to make their stories with the kit we no longer need or want. Go to mpb.com and I will have a link on today's show page. It's the final letters-free week. We're back to your wonderful stories next week alongside my guests. So this again is your chance to put digital pen to paper and write the letter you've always wanted to about your creativity, so we can hit the ground running when we're back from Africa. I would love to receive your letters about your creative life, your why, what you photograph, because that's what this show's all about. It's a show for those who find escapism and peace away from the noise of this world, putting miles under our feet and making a picture or two to remind us of where those footprints were left. Send your letters to stories@photowalk.show if you're sending your pictures. If you can resize to 2,500 pixels wide, please do. Otherwise, I will do the heavy lifting. Oh, and remember, don't watermark them and don't put borders around them. I will, of course, be sure to credit you, so include your full URL for anything like websites, blogs, Insta, X, Flickr, and so on. Right, shall we walk? Checklist out. Coffee, check. Garibaldi's, check. Walking boots, check. And a knee bandage. What? That'll make more sense soon. Let's walk. I often joke with Kevin that he seemingly has everything sorted and that everyone should #be like Kev. His business has thrived even when COVID turned up to bludgeon most creative endeavours, through hard work, granted. But this is what I mean. He's a photographer that, well, he just makes stuff work. In fact, on his arm, I can't remember whether it's your left or your right arm, Kev, but he has a tattoo that simply says, "Stuff That Works," which is a country song by Guy Clark. Most artists start to make and build their art, be that painting or sculpting, photography in this case, because it's some kind of calling, because they're moved to do so. Maybe because it speaks to them, or because somebody in their family enthused them to do it, encouraged them, nurtured them and their creative endeavours. But not Kev. No. And that's what I love about this genuine and very transparent story today. Because when he, well, I don't want to do a spoiler, but when he first took back the idea of starting a photography business to his wife, it wasn't exactly, well, I don't think it was taken with quite the enthusiasm that he was perhaps hoping for. As you'll find out, there was no epiphany, no calling. This was more a story of a great escape, an escape from the 9 to 5, a loathing of the 9 to 5 actually, which in Kev's case comes with a serving of irony. 9 to 5 being that great country classic, Dolly Parton, country music being one of Kev's great passions in life. Interviewing a friend is an interesting experience, and actually I know enough about Kev that we probably could have made this a 3-hour special, which leaves the door ajar to him returning at some stage. Although with my photographic background being weddings, it's not something I dip into too much with guests on this show. We do a lot of it on the Fujicast podcast already when it comes to talking about wedding photography, but it's a much maligned genre, much misunderstood. It sort of sits in that area of photography that some people, not you, I know, not even my other listener, that area of photography where unless you are one or you want to be one or have a creative friend who is one maybe, well, you're otherwise quite indifferent to it. But it's such an incredibly interesting arena. I mean, I know news and editorial photographers, very, very good ones, that have moved into it. Most photographers from war to, well, everything in between have shot one or two or three or do it more often than they otherwise reveal. It embraces so many other skills, photographic skills, landscape, interior photography, food photography, documentary, which is the road, the leaning that we go down today. And there's plenty of competition in that business as well. It's one of the most competitive forms of social photography in the whole widest world. 25,000 photographers, or those who practice photography in this country alone, apparently have shot one or shoot them regularly. I couldn't believe the 25,000 as a figure. And then I started doing some Googling. There were estimated to be approximately 86,600 photographers and audio-visual operators working in the UK as of the second quarter of 2023. So make of that as you will. Maybe that 25,000 isn't so daft after all. Anyway, what I do think is interesting about my good friend and guest Kevin is his refreshing, honest feeling about photography, the industry, his peers. You may wince in places, and even his clients, so strap yourselves in. We start our conversation in a coffee shop. We were going to go for a photo walk, but for reasons you'll hear, we didn't manage really to get... Well, we got a bit of a walk in. Anyway, we start in a coffee shop, which is quite loud, so we had our cappuccinos and we moved on fairly briskly somewhere else. But I think you'll be able to hear what we discuss in the first few moments. Here's Kevin Mullins. We were going to go for a walk today. And a photo walk with Kev. I thought, a photo walk with Kev, I've never done that. But there's no way we're going to do that because your knee it's not looking good, Kev. What have you done to it?
Oh, I don't know. It's just hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts badly. I've always had problems with my left knee ever since I was a kid. And now I'm older, it flares up more often.
It's coming home to 12 years old, you had an operation, didn't you?
I did, yeah. So
what did you do to yourself?
I think they scraped out part of the cartilage.
Oh, Kev.
Yeah, when I was 12. So I was in hospital for about 3 weeks in those days. Nowadays, cartilage operation, just a couple of hours. They send you home. And now I can't bend I can't put my foot on there, look.
No, well, we're sitting on high stools, and Kev can, well, as we were walking to the coffee shop, we're going to do a little bit here. I know there's some people in the background, so we might have to move to a quieter place. I did spot a gallery, by the way, round at the other cafe.
We could go to the Care Bladen Gallery, which is just around the corner. They'd be quite happy. They'd probably speak to you as well,
okay.
Actually. Yeah.
In terms of photography, I know your story is quite well documented. We've talked about it before. I know that the listeners to this particular programme won't necessarily know the story, so do you mind recounting it for us? But before you do that, had you grown up with cameras at all? Was photography something that was in the Mullins household as you grew up?
No, not at all. I think I'm literally the only person who doesn't have on their website. My dad had a camera. My father first handed me a camera when I was 8. That just never happened.
There's no story, is there, of
no
photography as a youngster?
No, none whatsoever.
Were you artistic?
No, can't draw a line, nothing. I literally turned to photography as a way out of corporate life. And that was it. And that was, I don't know, 16, 17 years ago now, I suppose. Working in London and we were living here at that point. in Malmesbury, so it was a 2.5-hour commute each way every day, and it was just knackering, So I read a magazine on a train once, and it had some black and white painted pictures of weddings, and I said to Gemma, I might try that. And she was like, what do you mean?
Was it literally like that? I might try that.
It was literally like that, literally. I didn't own a camera, didn't have a camera, I didn't have any skills whatsoever.
But you were really successful in your corporate world, weren't you? You were software designing for banks and all sorts of stuff.
Well, I was a contractor, so they got paid reasonably well, but it was not back in those days it was a bit more stable, but it wasn't a stable career, because you could at any one point, you might be on a 3-week contract or a 6-year contract, but they could always pull the plug. So yeah, I did a lot of back-end development for the Bank of England, Deutsche Bank, Bearings when they were still around. I was doing work for Bearings when Bearings went bust.
Wasn't your fault, was it?
Well, it wasn't me as far as I know. Yeah. But anyway, fast forward, and so I became a photographer, and I did some second shooting. I went on some courses, and then what benefited me was my skills at the time of building websites and the very, very embryonic state world of SEO in those days. Most people were still getting their bookings from the Yellow Pages. So I built a decent website, and I always remember putting my website live, and within an hour I had an inquiry from it, and that was the first wedding I ended up shooting professionally. And I was very honest with them, said, look, I've done some training, but I'm not, you'll be my first. And they were like, fine, that's fine.
Remember what you charged for your very first?
I do, I charged them £600.
It's not bad, 600 quid. Never done a wedding before, just picked up a camera.
16 years
There was no YouTube tuition, was there?
No, none. I bought all the books, the Amazon books, how to be a wedding photographer, all of this kind of stuff. I bought all the gear. I bought a Manfrotto monopod because somebody told me I needed it, that I had no idea how to use it. And I lost it on that first wedding day. I never actually got to use it. I took it to the church.
And left it?
Left it on the wall outside the church. I never saw it again.
But at this point, I suppose the door was always open to return to corporate, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
The first few years of doing so, the first year of doing something, there's always that feeling, well, if it all goes a bit wrong, pear-shaped, I can possibly go back to where I was.
Yeah, I guess there was. I was working for Grosvenor at the time in Mayfair when I made the change, and that contract came to a natural end, and so I was like, now's the time. So I knew that I would never go back to working in London. I hated it. I'd rather have been a bin man. So that was never going to happen. The only way I would my get out of jail clause was Bristol's not too far away, Swindon's not too far away, that kind of thing. If I needed to, and don't get me wrong, even though when I was a contractor, it was good money. You paid good taxes, and both Gemma and I had just got divorced, and we'd lost all of the money in our houses, our respective houses. So we had no money in the bank. It was a complete and utter gamble. Like a complete and utter gamble. Gemma had just got pregnant also, or just had Rosa, I think. So she was on maternity leave. So yeah, it had to work.
You must have been pretty sure that you could make wedding photography into a business.
I wasn't sure at all. In fact, after the first couple, I thought I'd made a massive mistake. Yeah, because I wanted to do it the same way that I'd seen other people do it. All candid, no group shots, all that kind of stuff. And so I built my website that way. I talked to the clients that way. And then on my first wedding, just as I was finishing and we were packing up and leaving, they said, "Oh, what about the group shots?" And we ended up doing 41 of them.
Oh my word!
Yeah, and at that point I thought I've made a massive mistake. And then I went home and spoke to Jess. So Gemma, for that very first year, I think my first one was on the 9th of August, and I think in that very first year I had about 15 weddings after the 9th of August. And so Gemma and I decided that we'll do them, and then have at the end of the year think what worked, what didn't work, and can we make things adjusted. And we've done that ever since. Every year we'll sit down at the end of every year and say, right, what's the plan for this year? What was good last year, what wasn't? And so we made a lot of changes. And one of the things was editing. I took too long to edit, and so she was like, "Well, how do we fix that then?" And I was like, "Well, I think should go on a course. She's like, right, let's get you on a course then. Off we went, Lightroom, which was Lightroom version 1 or something at the time.
Oh, so you would have been doing it like I was, all Photoshop, one image at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then I got more ruthless with my style, and in terms of group shots and stuff. And of course, things did slip through the net, but from year 2 onwards, pretty much I was very happy with the clients I was attracting and the stuff I was shooting for them.
I've managed to get Kev out and about a bit. I think maybe the coffee in the coffee shop helped Kev, didn't it?
Yeah.
What did they put in that?
Nice cortado.
This nice cortado. This is Malmesbury Abbey, which is a magnificent abbey, isn't it? You said it was the original capital of England?
Yeah, Malmesbury. King Athelstan was the first king of all of England, and this was his abbey. So yeah, Malmesbury historically was the first capital of England.
Was it? Did not know that.
Yeah.
Modest Malmesbury.
A lot of history here. A lot of stuff goes on here. Has gone on.
Yeah. The abbey during the Reformation, then, that was when it started getting ripped down, wasn't it? Or?
Yeah, so the abbey as we see it now is about a quarter of the size that it was. And the main not clock tower, wouldn't have been clocks obviously, but the main tower, spire, was 4 times as high as the building we see now. That came down in a big storm somehow. I presume it was because this was like the year 900 when it was founded. It was probably made of wood.
Right.
And that came down in a big storm. And then during the Reformation, there was all kinds of shenanigans, and they tore down quite a lot of it. But if we go around this side, you'll see some more remains that will give you a bit more of an idea of the scale. So there you go.
Religion's oh my word, look at that. That's huge. I mean, that's the size of. I'm trying to think of a modern day building I could compare. If that's half of the height it would have been.
Yeah, and this is one end, so that as the wall falls away there, it would have gone into what is now Abbey House Gardens, the cloister gardens behind. So where we're stood now, although we're outside, would have been inside.
Right.
You can see the old doorways there and stuff.
So it's fair to say this would have been as tall as perhaps St Paul's Cathedral.
Yeah, I would say probably, that kind of range. Yeah, I don't think that's an unfair estimation.
Massive.
Look, all those walkways and stuff that you can't get to anymore. Look.
Yeah.
I love all that.
Great for photography. Religion's very important to you, isn't it? When I first knew you, I had no idea of how important religion was to you. I never saw you as religious, Kev. I just saw you as rugby, Kev. Not that the two can't be together. I'm being very clumsy here, aren't I? Why can't anybody who plays rugby go to church on a Sunday? It's a ridiculous thing to say. But I didn't necessarily see you and the church connected. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, that's fair enough. But, everybody has their own ways of doing things. But yeah, I do. I am a religious person, in the Catholic faith, whereas this is not, the Abbey is not the Catholic Abbey. But yeah, it's very important to me.
You get involved with the church locally. What are you? You're I keep calling you the Archdeacon of Malmesbury. I tease.
Yeah, you do tease. I'm not. I'm a Eucharistic minister.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That means I am able to give out the wine and the bread and give blessings.
I'm going to tease you again. Does that mean one for me, one for you?
No, but if you're on wine duty, you do have to finish it off if there's any left at the end. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is that what happens?
Yeah. But it's not alcoholic. Don't worry.
Or is it not?
Not really. There's a tiny bit, but it's.
Where does the wine come from?
It's blessed wine. It's not what you think. It's not like priest brandy.
It's not like somebody doesn't go down to the co-op in the afternoon and think we've got to get some red wine in here. No.
It doesn't look or feel or taste like wine anyway.
Right.
It's more like, I would say it's probably more like sherry.
This is magnificent, though. Yeah. It really is. You're very lucky to live in this town. Does this have, I don't suppose it has any bearing on your creativity, does it?
Not really. No, I do like it here, though. I love Malmesbury. Very happy. The kids have grown up in a very beautiful place, a safe place, good schools, all of that kind of stuff. I was very, very happy that we kind of settled here. you know, and I know that there's lots of places around the country that are equally as nice, and home's always home, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wherever it is.
How does it work with your photography then? Because it's not exactly the crossroads of England. You have to travel you've had to travel quite a lot for your photography.
Yeah, I do. I very rarely, like the Abbey, for example, I think I've only ever shot 3 times in there. But yeah, I rarely shoot local weddings, although saying that, my next one is in Ewan, which is literally around the corner. But mostly, yeah, travel, a couple of hours drive, you know, thereabouts. A lot of places, yeah. We're not really close to many things here.
No. What happened then? Because after your start, which was almost you I think described it as almost a disaster, it went from there to, well, there was the elevation of your career was reasonably brisk, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know about the career, but the bookings were brisk.
Yeah.
The bookings came in. The second year, I think I mentioned that first year I did 15. Second year I did 69 weddings, which was way too much. But and the reason that happened was because I was very good at the online stuff, the marketing, the SEO. All of that worked very well for me. Most people still didn't even have a website, let alone were embracing the technologies. So that's why I got all of those bookings.
Do you sell yourself short slightly, though, there? Because all the time you must have been improving as a photographer.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But, I'd like to think I was. But I was very much very much decided by that point. It was candid, it was documentary, or, what I subjectively called documentary. And that's the way I was going to do it. And so I did it. And then after that second year, sat down again with Gemma, and she was like, if you do that again, if you work like that again next year, I'll be divorcing you.
Oh.
So, that was a clever way of the pair of us realizing that, you can't just chase the cash, can't just chase the money and lifestyle. That was the year that I decided I would never work in August again.
Very, very early on then, because that's one of the most surprising sides, I would imagine, when you talk to other photographers. August in the UK, a bit of July, because often your summers sort of embrace 6 weeks, don't they, really, when you're away. Most photographers, that's making hay while the sun shines. But for you, the sun shines in a very different part of the world, in Spain, and you don't pick up the only reason you pick up a camera is to photograph the kids in the pool. Yeah, so
I decided that I'm not going to work when the kids are on holidays, and pretty much stuck to that ever since. And you're right, it's at times it's been challenging, especially a few years later when we had the economic downturn, and there wasn't so many weddings going around and all of that stuff. But I just adjusted prices and marketing accordingly. But you can't. I don't think people. I think if you're a wedding photographer, people out there who are wedding photographers, I think they need to be very cautious of family life versus work life and the balances that they make. If they're away for lots of weekends, then make sure you make up for it during the week. For sure.
I've always looked at you as somebody who has the work-life balance, if not perfect, pretty good. And I compare that to me, and we've known each other many, many years now. And I think if you were very candid with me, you'd probably say that you've watched my career and I haven't followed that trajectory at all. And there are moments where I've resented being a wedding photographer. If I'm being absolutely honest, I don't think there's enough honesty and authenticity around in this business, where I've thought, well, you lot are all going down to Bournemouth this weekend with the grandparents, you'll be on the beach and I'm at a wedding. No, I don't resent being with clients, of course I don't. And that's what pays the mortgage. But I somehow, and I look at your career now, and we'll come to that, I think you got it right.
Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect. It's definitely not perfect. But I did definitely make a decision that, I suppose it all comes down to that time when I changed to becoming a wedding photographer, which essentially meant that I gave up playing rugby, I gave up my Saturdays, and...
so you did have to give stuff up?
I had to give stuff up, yeah. But and the idea was I'd give it up, and it would stop me having to go to London every day, and I'd have a better work-life balance. And for the first 2 years, that did not happen because I was working too much, taking on too many weddings, etc., etc. And I had given stuff up, and at that point, as I said, we decided that that's not the way forward. It's not about chasing the money. So we're never going to drive around in Ferraris or anything like that. That's, of course you need money, of course you do, but I've always been the kind of person who, as long as everything's covered, and I don't like debt or anything like that, but as long as everybody's happy and safe and sound and healthy, that's enough for me. And so I reject the idea of just chase one more booking, an extra grand. Whoa, we could go on holiday for that. Yeah, you could, but all of those, just one more, eventually leads to
That's in life, though, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's true of everything.
Yeah,
it's true of everything. So I'm very happy with the way the career has panned out and my work. I feel like, for example, if we go back 6 years, let's just say 6 years ago, Gemma had she gone back to work then or not? I think perhaps she had. She works part-time now, and up until then she didn't work. So she could afford, the career afforded us the ability for her to stay at home with the kids and work and all of that kind of stuff with the kids. It's a job in its own right. I would go to weddings on the weekends, and then during the week I would be there. The school is here. This is the school they went to, the primary school is here. So I would pick them up every day, take them to my original office was there, around the corner of the Geek House.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember you being in that building.
Little tiny one just around there.
Oh, yes, I do remember it. Yeah.
So, we had a lovely, it sounds very, I don't know, it sounds like a fairy tale. It wasn't, obviously, but it did. I feel like we put enough effort into making the right choices, and it worked out.
Yeah. Your association with Fujifilm is really important, isn't it? It's such a precious part of your story, down to how you shoot, isn't it? Really, I mean, it changed the way that, and we'll do a studio tour in a little while. No doubt, I'll find your Fujifilm cameras scattered all over the place, yeah. But the Fujifilm Association's been really precious. But it wasn't something like so many photographers have this idea of, I've got to be an ambassador. That's the pinnacle of that's what I need. You didn't, it wasn't like a collection for you and that you had to achieve that, was it?
No, not at all. I mean, I became a Fujifilm ambassador, oh God, I don't know, 2015 perhaps, I was the first wedding photography ambassador for Fujifilm. They had other ambassadors, obviously, people like Damien Lovegrove and stuff around the same time. But yeah, it just kind of happened because I was one of the early adopters of their stuff, shooting professionally, and if I recall, they emailed me and said, can we use some of your photos at the photography show on our stand?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, of course, just didn't think much more of it, and then after that, they invited me for a meeting in Bedford, and then they basically said it wasn't called ambassadors. They weren't even called ex-photographers then. It was called, I don't know, something else. They had another name for it. And then I was like, yeah, of course. What do I need to do? And they were like, well, nothing really. We just stick your face on a website and just say you use our stuff.
There's a sort of organic development of you working together to find out what an ambassador meant for them.
Yeah, exactly. But shortly after that, they rang me up and said, Fujifilm Japan have asked if you can go to Tokyo with David Hobby and Zach Arias, who were the US Zach, ones, yeah. And, would you be okay to go? And I was like, yeah, of course. So off we went. I remember that trip very well. I had a wedding in Rome. They wanted me to go on the Friday.
Yeah, I like the way you just throw, I just had a wedding in Rome.
No, I know, but it did. So it was really weird. What happened was, I had a wedding in Rome they wanted me to go on the Friday, but I had a wedding in Rome on the Saturday. So I said, no, I really want to come to Japan, but I won't be, is there any way I can fly from Rome to Tokyo on the Sunday?
You star.
And they said, yeah, that's all right. I'm sure that'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I did. That was my very first ever, I'd flown to America and stuff before, but that was the first, but always with other people. And somebody who's not very keen on flying, that was a long old journey. And anyway, shot the big wedding on the Saturday, flew to Tokyo. I got there, and one of them picked me up at the airport. He said, and we whisked back to the hotel. He said, how long do you need? And I said, how long do I need for what? He said, to get ready for your talk.
Oh, you didn't know you were doing a talk?
I knew I was doing a talk. I just didn't know it was that day. So, I'd prepared. They prepare everything very well. So I sent them the PowerPoint presentation and everything. I was like, well, how long have I got? And he said, no more than 20 minutes. So a quick shower and change. And he led me down to this big kind of exhibition room, and along the way he said, look, and there was all my pictures on the wall, which was great. And then he said, no, don't go through that door, where there was this auditorium was full, like, I don't know, about 200 people, maybe more. And he said, no, not this way. And we went down this little back door way, and we went up these little steps, and he poked his head round the corner and he said, are you ready? I went, yeah, I guess. He said, go, open the door. And I literally walked on stage, and Zach Ayres, David Hobby, Bert Stefani was there at the front, loads of press.
Big hitting names in the Fuji stratosphere, weren't they? Yeah.
All the staff, the engineers, everybody. Yeah. And my presentation started behind me, and I was like, oh, right, so now I need to give my presentation. I was absolutely jet lagged. I was, and people like Bert and Zach and David Hobby, who had been, they were just huge names, and I'm like, why the hell am I? Talk about like imposter syndrome. I was like, what on earth is going on here? I could not believe it.
Are you a natural speaker?
I'm okay with it now.
You have a particular style, I would say.
I'm okay with it now. At the time, that speech, that talk is still on YouTube.
Is it?
You can find it, yeah.
Oh. What do I need to search for?
Nervous Kev and his cameras. I think it's called...
I'm going to put a link on the website for this.
I think it's on the Fujifilm's X, the YouTube channel, I think. It's X Photographers Meeting 1 or something. Yeah. Anyway, it's still there. But yeah, I'm subsequently, I've been there several times, and I've got a very symbiotic relationship. I've been involved in some regards with some of the design decisions.
I
can't say
Is this
that.
a bit like your drinks reception?
Design decision. I can't do it. Design decision.
Design. Put a Z in.
Design.
Thank you.
Decisions.
Yeah.
Drinks reception. I can't do it.
And you're a stage speaker.
I know. Yeah, well, I never say drinks reception there when I'm doing my talks. I just say cocktail hour. But yeah, so I've been involved in some of the design decisions.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But I'm no longer an ambassador. They've moved on, and that makes a lot of sense. However, I'm still very friendly and still get on very well with them all.
Yeah. I know you get a bit agitated when people, I'll just ask it. People say, well, you've probably done really well, and you've is it stratospheric rise to fame in the wedding industry, as it were, is down to being a Fujifilm ambassador. It's something that I know you've had to tackle this before, haven't you? When people say, Kev, it's all about being an ambassador.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's one thing you said earlier about, people want to be ambassadors. And I always say that, you should never want... being an ambassador should not be an ambition. It should be a reward for something.
Yeah.
It should come organically.
Yeah.
If you want to be an ambassador, then it probably won't happen, because you'll be trying too hard, and it's not something that is organic. All right, so there's that in the first instance. But then, yes, it's not so much the ambassador status and stuff. It's the, people, wedding clients they don't give a gnat's
thingy
legs.
Yeah.
For ambassador statuses or awards. Nobody cares. No, honestly, you're absolutely kidding yourself if you think, a bride or a groom is going to book you based on the awards or your ambassador status.
Why do you still have award-winning Kev on your website then?
Because I am award-winning, but that's all it's on there. I don't post I don't enter competitions or anything like that, and I don't. I honestly, don't get me wrong, I have done this in the past, but I learned that why should I give money to other people, competitions-wise, for them to then essentially say, yeah, this is worth something or this isn't. I don't get it. And I can tell you now, like, I guarantee that a bride is not going to choose you because you have award-winning pictures or you're an ambassador, if they don't like your photos. You know, let's say
whatever genre you're in.
Whatever genre, absolutely. Let's say it's just you and I, right? And there's a bride who's interested in a wedding photographer, right? And let's just say she comes to my website, she sees, award-winning, ambassador, etc. And then she goes to your website, but actually she likes your pictures more. She's not going to then come to me and go, oh yeah, we're going to pick you because you're award-winning, but I preferred Neil's pictures, of course. Why? Nobody would ever do that. It's a fallacy and a myth that, you know, people, the amount of money people spend on competitions every year.
Does it not, though, give you something to... I've had a very similar conversation recently with, a couple of photographers that have said they do awards because it kind of focuses the mind. It sort of somehow improves you.
Okay, so I'm only talking about wedding photography industry here, right? I get it for...
But it's the same in every industry, surely.
Well, perhaps, but the problem with the wedding photography industry is I feel if you take that analogy into account, you know, it focuses you, then I feel like people go to weddings and they're shooting for the awards.
Right.
Which leads them to overshoot, to fabricate things, if it's documentary approach, to not put their clients first. You know, it's not right. In my mind, you go to a wedding, you shoot with the purpose of making the best pictures you can for your clients. If they're the best pictures you make for your clients, perhaps you might get an ambassadorship at the end of it. If you go to a wedding thinking, this place is brilliant, I can't wait, I'm going to enter competitions from this, and maybe Fujifilm will sponsor me, you won't do a good job. Honestly, believe me, and I'm only talking from wedding photography point of view here, absolutely. I get it, certainly get it for like photojournalism, anywhere where there's a commercial aspect to it, or galleries, all of that kind of stuff. I understand certainly the higher end.
And also in news, I always think those hard-hitting pictures that have made a difference to people and awareness of issues.
100%. I just personally don't think in the wedding industry,
or the social photography industry.
Yeah, and I know I'm tarring them all with the same brush here, and they're not. But there are some people, and not many, but some people who spend hundreds, if not thousands of pounds every year giving their money to other organisations, only for them to then say, "Oh, you've won an award," or "You haven't won an award." For what reason? It will not bring them bookings. I just do not believe that. I might be wrong. I might well be wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong, but I don't think I am. I haven't entered a competition in, gotta be 10 years.
Really?
And I've still got my bookings. Miserable Kev.
And Kevin Mullins, my friend Kevin, returns shortly. Now, an invite to join me later on in the year in Scotland on our next photo retreat. There are 2 Scottish photo retreat weeks. You try saying that quickly. The first week filled up straight away. So I did open it, and I don't know. I mean, I've been away. I'm talking sort of in the present and the past tense, all at the same time, in that I've kept an eye on email, but I've not always been in great contact with Wi-Fi. I think going by the itineraries or the itinerary of the last couple of weeks in the Gambia. So I'm not sure how many spaces have gone by now, but it's still open. Go to photowalk.show, look for Scotland 24 in the top menu bar, and you can come and join us on that retreat. We're spending the 15th to the 21st of September. We're off to the Black Isle to enjoy time and join like-minded folks who enjoy walking with a camera, like what you and I do. And even, as I said last week, my other listener. What will we be doing? Well, we'll be in the darkroom. Each evening there's a photo debrief going through our stories and pictures, enjoying great food as well. I'm going to be doing a workshop on sound and pictures together, sharing some secrets. Who knows, it may even yield you doing your own podcasts or just engaging the sound in slideshows that you do with your pictures. I don't know, there's so many creative ways you can use sound and pictures together. We'll be forest bathing, We'll be walking in the Highlands with the lochs and the glens as our backdrop. And we're going to be doing something that I'm keen to learn more about. We'll have a workshop on creative writing for the stories we write with our pictures. It's a week of learning. It's a week of relaxing. It's a week of retreat. It's a week of photography. And the link is on the show page today. Right, let's return to my conversation with this week's guest, Kevin Mullins. We're heading towards Kev's office, and this is a nice part of town. Actually, you positioned yourself really wisely, because look down there, you've got the lovely country pub, hey?
Yeah, Smoking Dog.
Smoking Dog. Old Bear House. Yep. This has been your domain for a few years now, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've probably got to be nearly 10 years now I've been here. I was originally in the small office on the left. Yeah. And then during COVID, the software company that was in what is now my studio moved out. I moved in.
Yeah.
That's it.
When Fujifilm, your association with Fujifilm came to an end, which is in the last year, how did that make you feel? Because you've been with them many, many years. Well, we're going to have to turn the alarm off now, aren't we?
Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll do this all in real time. Authenticity is the... There we go. Authenticity being the key to the way you photograph. What's your code? 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Yeah, what was the question? Fujifilm.
When Fujifilm came to an end, I never thought it would, actually. I know you've often said to me, at some stage, the formal association with them, even though they still have an informal association with you to this day.
Yeah.
I thought, no, because you're so knowledgeable about the cameras. I mean, the basis of the Fujicast. I always feel, in some respects, our association, our relationship on that show is that I'm the facilitator, you're the expert. And I know you've argued against that, but I think that's true, and I think it works really well as a partnership in that respect. So I thought, no, how can somebody this knowledgeable about the camera, the systems, the way it works, the software, the development, the R&D, I just thought you would be there forever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think... Well, put it this way, things needed to change because of the way the world has changed. I absolutely 100% get it, and I had an amazing time as an ambassador, and it's time for other people. That's fine. But I am still connected to them indirectly, as you said. I mean, we host events at the Fujifilm House of Photography in London.
I'm looking forward to it.
I still have Andreas on my friends list, and it's all good. For all intents and purposes, it's a title that's no longer there, and that's absolutely fine. It was good while it lasted, but all things come to an end.
Does it make a difference to your business?
I mean, I think it makes a little bit of difference financially in terms of I would get work from Fujifilm. They would pay me to go and talk at the photography show, although I am talking at the photography show this year, but not for Fujifilm. And they would do workshops with me. So yes, in terms of direct income, yes. But from a wedding point of view and general stuff, no.
Photography is changing for you. I tease you on the Fujicast that you're now retired, a man of leisure, with your feet up in some sort of spa pool of your choice. But it's not like that. You're still shooting the occasional wedding, I know that. But you are changing direction, aren't you?
Yeah. I know I haven't shot as many as you, but I've shot nearly 700 weddings now over 15 years, and
I'd say you're catching up, but you won't now.
No, well, never catch up now, and that's it. I still will shoot the occasional one, maybe 1 or 2 a year, perhaps 3, maybe, I don't know, but they have to be the right ones and for the right people. And I've just come to a natural end with it, absolutely. And my business will. I've been very lucky in that I set up the training element of my business a long time ago, some other kind of elements of it as well that are in place, and they will be enough to keep me going, essentially. So I'm lucky enough to not need to have to shoot 25, 30 weddings anymore.
Will you miss it?
Weddings? No. Any more questions on that?
Can I think of another awkward question? Yeah, I get that. I suppose when you close a door on something, then just keeping it slightly ajar is not necessarily the best way to operate, is it?
Well, I mean, I will still...
Well, although your door is slightly ajar.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm still keeping my website, and I'm still, I will still take the inquiries. Inquiries will come through, and if it feels to me like it's a very interesting wedding, and feel like it could work, then I'll reply. Otherwise, I won't, and that's a luxury situation for me, and I appreciate it's for some people. It seems like how the hell and why, but like I say, the other parts of my business will sustain me, and that's where I'm at. And I've done my days of spending Friday nights in a travel lodge or Premier Inn on the M1 are done. They're gone. I can't. I will not do it anymore. Well, I've got 5 weddings this year. So
although commercial photography is taken over in that respect, because you've been doing a bit of commercial work that does take you to the Premier Inn or the travel lodge.
Well, yeah, it should do, but it doesn't. So I drive through the night for that.
What?
So the last one I did was in Grimsby. And
so for anybody that lives outside the UK, from here, it's got to be 5-6 hours drive.
It's 5 hours and 10 minutes.
Right. Okay.
So the job involves going to the opening of a certain brand shop and photographing the opening. The new store opening and cutting the ribbon, that kind of stuff. The store opens at 6 or 7 a.m. So I need to be there at 6 a.m. and the job is usually done within an hour.
So you set off at midnight.
I drove all the way to Grimsby, did my job, and drove home.
Right.
So no travel lodge. Gemma was like, "Why didn't you get a hotel?" No, I'm not.
No.
The last place I want to be in a travel lodge is in Grimsby. Grimsby Travel Lodge.
Apologies if you live in Grimsby. Street photography has been a really important part of your creative existence, hasn't it? Now, for quite a while, actually. Was that sort of an accidental find?
Yeah, I think street photography for me was the way that I used to practice. I would kind of just go and with always thinking about that holy trinity of light, composition, moment, and I could go on the streets without any stress or pressure and practice that mantra, which I would then take into weddings. So that then became a hobby, an enjoyable hobby that then became workshops and various things like that. But obviously street photography, I don't make money from street photography as such in terms of selling pictures, but I enjoy it. And one of the downsides of living in Malmesbury is that you can't really do it in Malmesbury because, as you saw when we were outside,
everybody knows you.
Everybody knows everybody here. It's weird.
All right, Kev.
So I do wish. I think this year, now that I have less weddings this year, I will be hopping on the train every now and again and just taking myself off to London a bit more often. Just for a day out.
Do you enjoy your photography? Because we part of the conversation has been that when you swapped from your corporate life into photography, you had no background in it. It wasn't something, you don't have the dad story as you've identified already. Weddings is something you've decided to sort of throttle back on. What part of photography do you enjoy? Do you enjoy making the presets, which you've been very successful at doing, teaching people, which you do a lot of, or do you enjoy the photography? I mean, is there a Kev that would, like me, take you down a canal path where you just get absolute pleasure from switching off and making a photograph of an oak tree? Yeah,
I do enjoy the photography. I enjoy all the other elements you just said as well. So I don't particularly enjoy editing, but I did enjoy the process of creating the presets and everything, which obviously makes my editing easier. The workshops and training I love meeting, especially the street photography ones. They're really good fun. But that one thing that is playing on my mind a little bit is if I'm not shooting as many weddings, that I have to make sure that I'm still photographing
shopping centres,
other stuff, whatever that may be. Because when I'm doing my workshops, I'm not typically shooting, not much. So I will be making time specifically for projects or whatever, whether that just means getting into London, or whether it means a more considered project locally, whatever, I don't know. But that's something I am acutely aware of, that without going to weddings and putting that camera to my eye, I will be, taking a lot less pictures.
So the training is very important. I wonder what you say to people who come here who are starting in social photography, which is really what you're teaching mainly commercially. Because the industry has changed. Post-COVID, it's certainly changed. I feel my business has still got a bit of long COVID, my photographic business. I think I've still got, if you pardon me using this analogy, because I know it's a horrible disease, but I think I've suffered a bit of long COVID mentally with getting back into business. What do you say to somebody who's here, who comes in fresh-faced, hello, Kev, who's starting over, starting from scratch, rather?
Well, this is what we talk about in the first part of the day, is I talk to them all about the mistakes I made. I sit down with them and I show them pictures from my very first wedding. And we go over everything from the start to what potentially is the end of my career, I suppose, and everything in between, what I did well, what didn't work. And generally, the consensus, the message that I'm often trying to get to over to people is, you have to think about it from a business point of view. Do not see wedding photography, especially if you've got a day job, do not see wedding photography as a part-time thing on the weekends that will just bring you in extra cash. That may well be very true, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a day job as well, but if you don't identify it as a business and separate it out from a financial point of view, then you will just end up taking on that one more job, that one extra grand, that one extra 500 quid, and you will very quickly fall out of love with it, which is what happened to me that second year, 69 weddings. I think I was charging £1,200 at that point, getting very close to the VAT barrier and working too much and charging too little. There's an pricing equilibrium that works for everybody. Everybody has a price point that works for them. You just keep putting your prices up until you stop getting any work, and then you've got the right equilibrium. People are scared to do that.
Yeah. So the social side of the internet, Instagram, Facebook, and that's something that you're very, very good at. You understand extremely well. Although that and the industry has changed so much, hasn't it, over the last couple of years? We should have recorded this bit on the path as we were walking here, and I was saying, sometimes I feel really jaded by, I suppose, social media, in that I just got fed up of reading about perfect lives.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Authenticity is what I'm looking for. That was the word I couldn't find.
And that's true. And I feel like a lot of people see social media as a marketing platform and forget the word social. We used to have that as a catchphrase, didn't we, for a while back?
Don't forget the social.
Don't forget the social in social media. Yeah, I feel like that's a thing. And
it's still relevant now.
It is, and especially in the wedding photography world. And I know a lot of listeners are not wedding photographers, but in that world, when you look on it, certainly on Instagram, you do see this. You see the world through a very rose-tinted view, and it's not like that. And don't feel obliged to post on social media. Just basically do the stuff you want when you want, and if you enjoy it. The people that get caught up with, I haven't posted on Instagram for a day, then I've got to do it, otherwise, then it becomes a chore, laborious, and you fall out of love with it, and it comes to an end. And that's true of everything. It's like the job itself, the wedding photography. If anything, it's like building your website, the SEO, the social media. If it gets to the point where it becomes a chore and difficult for you to do, you will stop doing it. So don't ever let any of those things become a chore.
Right, I want to look around your studio. It's time for a studio tour, because we just come through the door, and as I look at this, there's a lot of stuff, Kev. There's a lot of stuff. I feel like I'm in the inner sanctum, Kev. Is this the famous cupboard of doom? This is where all your stuff that you talk about all the time, that you're not sure how... It looks remarkably organised. I was about to say that you're not sure where stuff is, but look.
No, that's so this is not the cupboard of doom. The cupboard of doom has been de-doomified, and I've got rid of most things over the Christmas period, but there is still a lot of stuff in here that needs sorting out. So I've got a bag behind you on the floor that's full of lenses and as well.
But this is full of lenses, Kev. How many lenses do you have? How many lenses does a man need?
Lots.
Yeah.
Lots. GFX stuff is in there. And then all random stuff. I don't know. I don't even know what.
GFX lens.
Oh, yeah. See? That should not be there. That should be somewhere else.
I've got a bag. That will fit my bag. Yeah, then I just need to get the camera. This is the fabled camera bag that's the Magnum one, isn't it?
No, but the Magnum one is inside this bag.
Why do you keep a bag in a bag?
I keep all my camera bags are now in that one bag. I got rid of a lot of camera bags.
All Christmas. Your bags in one bag?
Yeah, I've now only got 4 camera bags.
Right.
If I include my my wedding bag.
Right.
The rest of them have been charity shopped.
What happens in this room? Because you've got some really nice painted backdrops. Where did you get your... I bought mine... I'm sure it was an American company I bought mine through. And I can feel the... Ooh, they're good.
Yeah, they are nice. They come from Clot Studios, which is a New York-based company. They're expensive. They're about $400 each, but they are nice. And they're hand-painted. So, you know, this won't look exactly like the one they had on their website. You know, because it's everyone's unique and individual. So I've got 2 of them. That one over there, I don't know where that's come from.
That's stretched on some sort of metal poles around the outside. Yeah. That looks more like a Lastalite thing.
Yeah, it might be Lastalite. I really don't know. Honestly, last couple of weeks, I've taken so much stuff to the school. Paper. I had 2 12-foot tall paper rolls.
Right.
12 feet tall. Right. Vertically.
Oh, I know. Yeah, the ones I used to, when I had a studio, they're the long ones.
I don't even know where they came from.
Well, I probably gave them to you.
Oh, maybe they came from you.
Did you sell them?
No, I've given them to the school. I just dropped them off at the primary school.
Can I have my white one back, please?
They were both white. And then I had all kinds of stuff. And I was just like, Dave across the road had some of my bags, and then Scottish John from up the hill came and he took some stuff away. The school got a load of stuff. But yeah, it's all been cleaned up.
I like this about Malmesbury. Everybody has a name. Scottish John, was it?
Yeah.
So your friends are?
Scottish John, Disco Dave, he's across there. DIY Dave, bless him. Big Nick. Welsh Gar, Postman Matt, Aussie Wayne.
What are you?
Well,
to them?
Grumpy Kev.
Grumpy Kev. Do you use all the kit? Because you've got a lot of kit here. You've got sliders.
No. So I've got that slider out. That was very nearly ditched because I couldn't really think of anywhere to put it.
Well, Disco Dave would probably have it.
Disco Dave might have had it.
Yeah.
But no, I've decided I'm going to need that for a project coming up. But I had so many. If you come over here, so many tripods.
Oh, are these the cupboards of doom? God, how many tripods and stands does a man need?
I've got tripod. I looked this one up, right? I looked it up on the internet.
What's this one?
I don't know. One-legged thing or something.
Oh, yeah. It's the one-legged.
Right.
Yeah.
I looked it up on the internet.
They're very nice.
And it's like about 500 quid. I don't know where it came from. I didn't buy it.
Did you do a review for them?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I've got a Manfrotto video heads.
Yeah.
All sorts of stuff in there. I just don't even know where half it comes from.
What's in the top ones?
Top ones are...
Oh, right, okay.
Folders.
Boring folders and paperwork.
And this is old hard drives.
More camera bags.
No, that's not a camera bag. That's a Tesco's bag.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
And down there is... Oh, they're camera bags, but they're the camera bags for my vintage cameras, which are the ones on the shelves out there.
The difference being that these are just old ones that you bought because you like the idea of vintage being with married with vintage.
No, the difference being that mostly those cameras have come from other members of my family.
Right.
Other members of my family, so I don't feel like I should throw the bags out because some of them are like 60 years old.
So you're just keeping the bags for bags' sake now?
But they all belong to these.
Oh, look at these. Ooh.
Yeah.
Right.
So all of these things here belong in those bags that you just saw.
So we've moved from room to room. This is the computer room. This is where you do your editing.
Yeah, this is where I do the editing and the training and workshops and stuff. It's all in here. Yeah. So this is soundproofed as well, which you'll probably notice.
Not soundproofed.
Well, not
sound muffled.
Battens.
Sound, yeah. But It's not very noisy around here anyway. Who comes to Malmesbury?
The Queen. The Queen. She's always here.
She was.
She was, yeah, but she still comes around. You still see her, but now she has a lot more black cars behind her.
You mean Camilla?
Camilla, yeah. She still goes to Michael's the Butcher's.
Does she?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I thought you meant our dear departed Queen, but you mean Queen Camilla.
Yeah, Camilla. Yeah, Camilla. But she's from Tetbury originally.
Oh.
Yeah.
So has she been to this studio?
No, David.
I named this studio.
No.
Books. There's a. Now you're a book collector. You really are. So this is not your whole collection, is it?
No.
So
some over there.
Yeah. What have you got here? Storefront NYC, Beautiful Britain. Are there any that are particularly precious to you?
Some of them are still at home, but I'm trying to think if I think the Family Love one is at home.
Oh, Darcy Padilla.
Yeah, I don't know then. No, so the ones, the super valuable ones are somewhere else, but they're all nice.
Do you look at them much?
Not really, I have to say. Not as much as I should do, perhaps. But occasionally, I pull some out occasionally. Sometimes they give me ideas for things, but, I should probably... The ones at home I do look at quite a lot, because they're easy, they're just like at arm's reach, aren't they?
Yeah.
But all of these were at home.
Right.
So then one day at a wedding, I noticed my security camera was bleeping on my phone, so I looked at my security camera and Gemma was lugging boxes full of books into my studio while I was at a wedding, closely followed by a chest of drawers.
Oh, is that the chest of drawers that makes no sense in the other room?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So is this like a dumping ground for the family? I noticed a bike in there. That's not your bike, is it?
No, that's Albie's bike. Yeah,
Albie.
because we live in a tiny cottage where, you have to bring, the bins have to come through the living room, through the kitchen, through the living room, and onto the street. We've got no access to our garden. So same for his bike. The bike lives here. We've got the tumble dryer in my kitchen area at the end of the studio is a tumble dryer.
So everything has to be decanted, brought down to here, or brought down to here and decanted. Yeah,
Pretty much.
This is in the corner. We've got this is Keep Fit Corner, a running machine.
Yep, that's my treadmill, my weights, my weighing scales. Do you want to stand on the weighing scales?
No, not a hope. No. Not at all. That doesn't look like a 12-kilogram kettlebell. That looks far too large. Oh, it is. All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fling that over my head.
Do you?
And the good thing about this room is I can skip in here as well, which I really like doing, skipping.
Tall ceilings, isn't
Yeah,
it?
really tall ceilings.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure I'm in the middle, though. Otherwise it hits those low-hanging lamps.
Now, I know you live in a smaller, a cute cottage. Could you work from home?
I could work from home because ultimately, for most of the stuff I'm doing, I just need a computer. A laptop would do. But I need space. I couldn't do my workshops, obviously, from there. But yeah, in theory, you just need a laptop to be a wedding photographer, don't you? And somewhere to store your cameras.
Yeah. But over time, you collect, don't you?
Yeah, but also, this is a shooting space, a workshop space. I do kind of the radio show from here, all kinds of things that I probably wouldn't easily be able to do at home.
Yeah. Tell me about the radio show.
Well, the moment I said that, I shouldn't have really, because I haven't done it since July, since my dad got ill. I just haven't done it. But I'm going to try and get back to it. Nice bit of country boyo, they call me.
Yeah, you're a country fan, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you go to many country gigs?
I went to... When was the last one I went to? I've been to see Steve Earle recently. Yeah, I think that was last year. I can't think beyond that. last year was a complete haze.
I've slept since then.
Yeah.
Now, you've got am I allowed to press the buttons on it, or is it?
Yeah.
This is a standy-uppy desk, so it goes up and down, doesn't it? Oh, that's nice. Why do you need that, though?
Mostly for my YouTube stuff, because I can decide, instead of moving the camera up and down,
Right.
I can move the desk up and down for framing.
Right.
Yeah. And
Now,
depending on what I'm doing-
I didn't realise you do your YouTube videos standing up.
I only got this before Christmas, remember, this desk. So, but that's the plan. And it's just easier. I can decide, instead of moving the camera up and down, I can decide, instead of moving the camera up and down, for framing. Yeah. And depending on what I'm doing-
Right.
I have to, since I've got, I only got this before Christmas, remember, this desk. So, but that's the plan. And it's just easier then sitting in front of that computer and having the lights and camera here, that can just stay. The camera and the lights can just stay there in situ forever. Apart from when I'm doing training, in which case I'll get shoved in the corner. But this is like that area, and then it's healthier for you to stand up. So on most days I will come and stand up for a bit, not too long, but I will come and stand for a bit and do a little bit of work.
It's 80 calories, isn't it, per hour if you stand up?
Oh, and we've talked about this before.
I can't remember what. So you've got carefully positioned books here in your YouTube set. Henri Cartier-Bresson, Diane Arbus. What's that one? Dido Moriyama. Have you been to the new Dido Moriyama exhibition?
No. No, haven't been. Should have gone, but didn't.
Is it not on now? Is it finished?
I think it's finished.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
I think it's finished.
I was about to suggest we should go to that. I recognise that. That's the home exhibition that...
Yeah, you should recognise that one as well.
That Fuji did. What's that one? Sylvia Placky. I know who Sylvia Placky is, but why should I recognise this? Did I send you this?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did.
Is this the
maybe?
No, I'm not sure I sent you this. I have sent you books, but I'm not sure.
I thought you sent it, and you'd written something in the front.
No, because I always write in books, which
Yeah.
I know some people are intensely annoyed by because then they can't sell it on Abe Books.
Yeah, I was sure that was that book.
Right.
There you go. Well, it'd be one of them.
One of these.
Yeah. Dunno.
Do you sell stuff on Abe?
No.
No. So once a book comes in, it stays with you.
Yeah, I've never really sold. I've never bought books with a view to selling them, although they are quite valuable. I quite like the idea of doing a online archive of them, almost like a review, but.
Oh, for a YouTube film?
No, just on my website or something, just as a cataloguing process, really.
Would you review them and write about them?
Maybe, I don't know. It depends on the time, but that would involve going through each book.
Yeah.
Maybe just a way of me knowing what I've got.
Do you take inspiration from your books, or maybe not now? Or did you? Have you ever sat there with one? As I have this lovely idea of sitting in my studio. I still have the comfy chair in my studio, and the whole idea was that I would sit in there, have a cup of coffee, and read a book in a decadent artisan fashion. All that ended up happening was that Barney claimed it as his chair. Yeah. And there's mud all over it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I don't really spend too much time looking at them, but I will, in the past and actually probably in the future, I do look at especially some of the UK-based street photography books, and just for more than to do with locations more than anything. And, some of the Matt Stewart books, for example, he's got some great locations and great light, and it gives you a good idea of where maybe to hunt for images. Yeah. So, or if I'm going to Japan, I might look at, some of the Asian photo books, that kind of thing to give me a bit of an idea. But mostly they sit here.
In the Great Malmesbury flood, which I hope never happens, you're too high up, probably, aren't you?
We are, our house, but the bottom of the town was completely flooded last week. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, in the Great Malmesbury flood, which book would you rescue?
Well, the ones in my house are rescued because we wouldn't get flooded because we're too high up. But the ones here, God, I don't know. That's quite a good question. I don't really.
Or what one thing? Never mind the book. What would you rescue from here? You'd probably throw all your X100s in a bag. You've got plenty of camera bags. We've already established that.
It would be my guitar, my Taylor guitar.
Oh, would it?
Yeah.
Not the cameras.
No, if it was only one thing.
It's the guitar.
The guitar, yeah.
How many years have you been a photographer?
15 years.
15 years, and you wouldn't rescue anything photographically, but you'd rescue your Taylor. I don't know what a Taylor guitar is. I have no reference point.
If I could only have one thing, then it would probably be that. Yeah.
You wouldn't take the running machine out?
No, that could stay. So can the weighing scales.
You said to me the other day that you spent the afternoon practicing your guitar. Go on, grab your guitar out.
I'm not playing it.
Why?
No.
Go on.
I've got loads of them, look.
Oh, my word, there's more over here. How many guitars does a man need?
There's 2 at home.
What?
Yeah.
1, 2. Is there one in that case over there as well? No.
That's an empty case.
1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got 4 in here, 2 at home. Mm-hmm. My word. You won't strum a bit for me?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm rubbish.
Well, you practiced all afternoon the other day. You must be brilliant by now.
No, it don't work like that. Don't work like that.
So we got a collection of... so here's your X100 collection. I love that picture on the wall that you've got of them all, like a skyscraper of X100s. You've never got rid of one of your X100s, and I wonder why, because I've sold all mine as I've gone along just to fund the next one.
Yeah, I don't know. They got personal connections with me, really. But that picture was taken on the GFX using the super megapixel blending mode. So it's like 600 pictures. The actual file was something like 7 gigabytes.
Ooh, so focus stacking.
Focus stacking, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
Does the GFX automatically do that? Is that what you're saying?
Not automatically. You can set it to do it.
Yeah.
But it was like, so that, if you looked at that on a computer, you could zoom in and in and in, and you could zoom in to the Fujifilm text and see the grain of the machine that made it.
No way.
It's that detailed. Yeah, absolutely. But no, the cameras, no, because
And then you stuck it on Instagram and nobody recognised you'd done it.
I stuck it on Instagram and nobody knows. You can't even really tell on the picture. I mean, if you come to the picture...
It's an extraordinary picture.
You know, you get a certain sense of it.
Yeah, you do.
But if you look at the digital image, you can just go in and in and in and in.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't...
What does it say on that one? One of them's got a blue writing on it.
That's Masa-san, the designer.
Oh, he signed an X100 for you?
Yeah, he signed the original X100 for me.
Oh, that one must be at home. That can't be here.
No, here it is.
Where is it? Oh, yeah. Wow, you want to be careful you don't rub that off.
Well, I just get him to sign it again. You'd be all right, I'm sure. But yeah, that's the original one.
Is that the first one you had?
Mm-hmm.
It was a dreadful camera, wasn't it?
Well, it was when it first came out, it was dreadful. And then they fixed a few things with autofocus. But yeah, I mean, it was never a quick camera.
No, but that was the one that made the difference for you with swapping from... Wasn't that the moment the sort of the inspiration for swapping from Canon DSLRs into Fujifilm cameras?
Yeah, I think when this came along, I realised that the future was going to be different. But that didn't make me swap. What made me swap was when the X Pro 1 came along with the interchangeable lens system, which was not long afterward. And then I swapped out completely. But I knew as soon as I picked up the X100 and I could see through the viewfinder, through the electronic viewfinder, and the images that it was creating, they were just vastly different to my Canon 5D, whatever it was in those days.
You had 2, I think, didn't you, at that stage? No.
1,
would have been 1, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 15 years ago, I think it would have been a 1.
It would have been 1, yeah.
16 years ago now. I think it was 5D1. I mean, the first Canon camera I had was a Canon, I want to say 20D. It was like a consumer thing. I bought it at an airport. But now, so that when that happened, when the Fujifilm stuff came along, that was it. That was time for me to change.
And they're all, I mean, I think it would be fair to say, reasonably is an understatement, beaten up.
Some of them are, yeah. I mean, the S is all right. It's a bit battered there, I suppose.
Why are these in such a shocking state, Kev?
Because
I use my cameras as well, but none of them look like this.
Well, this one, yeah.
I mean, is this the V?
This is the V, yeah.
So this is the latest one, and it looks... I mean, it wouldn't look out of place in a Don McCullin exhibition next to his camera that took the bullet.
So I'm guessing they all seem to be scraped across the top there. So that's probably just where... like catch them on walls or something like that. I really have no idea how that's happened. Where the casing's coming off.
The casing's ripped.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened there.
Yeah. You actually rub them in dirt to make them look old or something.
It's not dirt, is it? That's proper damage. This is just scratched. That one's got a similar thing. I don't know. They're just well loved.
What would MPB? This would be below their well used.
Yeah,
state.
Going back to the question why you haven't sold any, I think you just answered it. Yeah.
What else is there in here? So you got 2. Why have you got 2 screens here? I don't quite understand why there's 2 huge screens in here.
So, this one is for when I'm standing up because it's on my standy up desk.
Yeah.
So I can do my work, but it's the same computer. So it's not 2 computers.
Oh, just different screens. Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
And this is a great screen because you can turn it fully vertical.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I've seen people do that for email.
Yeah, and so sometimes when I'm doing video editing, I'd like to do it vertically as well because you get more of That Dell screen, which is really nice, but I find it too wide for video editing, ironically.
Right.
So I sometimes do it vertically on here.
And that's it. That's the studio tour. This is Kev's domain. And on days when you've got people in for training, I suppose you have to do a big clean-up operation because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stands out here.
Yeah.
And these are the stands that are out, not the ones in your stand cupboard of doom.
That's right, yeah. No, so these will, a lot of these, the hair light and the side lights are for the portraits, so they should really be in the other room.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just shove everything in the corner when people come and pull the seats out.
Yeah.
And then they stare at my big telly.
Do you let them play your guitars?
No.
Ooh. Have you ever seen that scene in Spinal Tap, where one of them doesn't let the interviewer touch the guitar? Don't touch that.
This one, this is special too. It's look, see, still got the old tagger on it. See, never even played it. See?
You just bought it?
Don't touch it. Don't
well,
touch it.
I wasn't going to touch it.
No, don't touch it.
I was just pointing at it.
Well, don't point even.
Don't even point?
No, it can't be played. Never. I mean,
Can I look at it?
No, you've seen
Don't
enough of that one.
I'd never seen Spinal Tap.
Don't. Oh, you must watch that movie. You would love it. Thank you, Kev. This is Shay Kev's domain. It's important to have your own space, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I love it here. I love it. I like coming here to work. You know, it's nice. I've got my music here, got my record player, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a nice place to come and work.
The problem is you have got that camera. So, you know, when you want to do your guitar practice, you need to make sure that Gemma's not tuned in.
Yeah, the live camera. Yeah, that's right. I do have my spy in the eye.
Yeah. You hide in the loo. Where's he gone? He's been in the loo 5 hours.
Took his guitar in there.
Who's Choctaw Ridge? Kev, this is look, compilation album, Choctaw Ridge.
Choctaw Ridge is the name of the album, New Fables of the American South.
Oh, that's not a band?
No.
Oh, right, okay,
No.
sorry.
So it's, Bobby Gentry, Lee Hazelwood, Charlie Rich, all of that kind
Dolly
of stuff.
Parton.
Yeah. And Choctaw Ridge is actually in a Bobby Gentry song.
Is it?
Yeah. But
Nice to see some vinyl, eh?
Yeah, I got my record player there.
Do you actually play your records?
Yeah, I do, but only recently, because one of the things I did over the Christmas period was I'd had that record player was next to those white cupboards in the other room.
Yeah.
And I plugged it in, and when I built the cupboards, I'd screwed them to the wall so I could never get to the plug.
Oh.
So I could never move the record player. I wanted it in here.
Right.
So up until very recently, I took the cupboards away at Christmas and unbolted it all. I've moved it in here, so now I can listen to them again.
Look at this lovely thing over here. I'm being a bit rude now. I'm just picking stuff up and reading it. Look. Daddy, this is a postcard that's been framed, and a very cheap frame, Kev. I'm sorry if Gemma did that. Daddy, you are as smart as Iron Man, as strong as Hulk, as fast as Superman, as brave as Batman. You're my favourite superhero.
I think I've had that for years. The kids must have got me that one Christmas or Father's Day or something, I expect.
Family's very important to you, isn't it? You and Gemma have an amazing relationship in terms of your support. We've learned that today, actually, by just talking to you, that you almost have a war cabinet meeting every year.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, no, she's been amazing, absolutely amazing.
She is incredible.
100% couldn't do anything without her. And I feel like, it's a negative in some respects that we were both married before, but a positive in other respects in that we've kind of had experiences that we can, as a couple, learn from. And I feel like we've got a very strong relationship, which is good.
So come on then, what about the future? So you're throttling back on weddings, but you're still doing a few. Can you see a time where you'll exit this studio here and say, do you know what? I want to move everything, because I know you love Spain. And I know that if you could choose anywhere to live right now, as beautiful as Malmesbury is, it wouldn't be here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love living in Malmesbury, but I would imagine at some point, once the kids have flown the nest, Gemma and I will spend some time in Spain. We're lucky enough to have Gemma's dad's got a place out there. So I would imagine that will be on the horizon. Of course, now what with Brexit and stuff like that, you can't just go out for 2 years. You have to come back and forth or get a visa or get a residency or something. Anyway, that aside, yeah, probably. I don't see that happening any time in the near future. Once I'm fit and healthy, I can see me spending a lot more time doing coaching, judo coaching. I like doing that.
Would you change businesses then?
No, definitely not. You don't make money from judo coaching. Well, people can. You can. But no, I just help. I like to help the club. That's all. But it will, for example, I can do, I'm now qualified to do mat side coaching, which means I can go to competitions and sit on the side and coach that way, as well as at the club. So, I'd like to do more of that, but that's certainly not, that's a hobby and something out of enjoyment and repaying rather than money-making stuff. Yeah. So no, I don't think, I was talking to Gemma about this the other day. I don't think I can ever be employed. I have not been employed since I was, I started working for myself when I was 22. I've never been employed since then.
No. You employ yourself?
I've employed myself. Yeah, absolutely.
Are you a good employee?
No, I'm terrible.
All right.
Yeah, pension pay's been awful. But that doesn't, obviously when I was working as a contractor, I had other people I was accountable to. Of course I was. But I always knew at the end of the day that I could just walk away. And I do not think I could work in a job where there was a hierarchy of stuff.
No.
I just don't think I've got that. My age and all that. So I think I will always be self-employed and potentially down the line, Gemma and I might do something together. I don't know. I really don't know. But that's more than likely where we would direct rather than me close the studio and go and work at Dyson.
Why Dyson?
Oh, because Dyson is based in Malmesbury.
Oh, right. I think that was
if you throw a ball in Malmesbury, you'll hit somebody who works at Dyson.
Oh, is that the way?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bit like in my town, that's the same with Vodafone.
Oh, Vodafone, yeah.
Yeah. It's Voda HQ. Yeah. I ask a question at the end of all my interviews, and I've asked you the questions I've asked you today, some of them many of them we talked about on the Fuji cast in different ways, I like to think. But there's a question I ask at the end of many of the interviews on the Photowalk podcast. And this might be one where you have a personal view, or it might be a work view. It might be something to do with photography. But the question I always ask is, what is your why?
What is my why?
Yeah. Why do you do what you do? Why do you photograph? Why do you?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a big. It's a why. This is the big question, Kev.
Well, I suppose my why has changed over the years. So originally, my why was to change career, to get out of the corporate stresses of London life, and then it became about making money, and then it was never like, my why is not about creating artwork or I'm not naive enough to think that it's people pay me to take pictures of them at their wedding day. That's it. I facilitate capturing those memories, and yes, I think hopefully that I do a very good job of it, but it's not like I'm an award-winning portrait artist with pictures up in the Tate Gallery or anything like that. So it's business. It's always been business. The business, and my mindset was always has been ever since I was a young person was, when you get to 50, that's when you want to be able to slow down. And so my why, I suppose, if you think about it in that way, ever since I was like a teenager, was get to 50. If you can get to 50, and I think I've just scraped over the line just about. I've got all kinds of things falling off me, including teeth and feet and arms and all sorts, elbows. Yeah. Then you've done a good job, and you can reward yourself a bit. So I guess that was it.
Well, I suppose actually when you get to 50, you can play your guitars in the afternoon and listen to Choctaw Ridge.
Yeah, New Fables of the American South.
Perfect. And my thanks to Kevin Mullins for being my guest on the Photowalk show this week, and my guests across the last couple of weeks while I've been travelling, Jeffrey Sidoris and Giles Penfound. I'd love to get out on the road more, which is where my dear wonderful patrons come in, our extra milers as we call them. Thank you for supporting the show, and hopefully in the future hopefully I'll be out on the road more with photographers doing some walking podcasts. It's great to talk across Zoom, and of course when I talk to photographers in different corners of the world, that's absolutely vital. Unless somebody could invent me, would you have a go this weekend, if you get a moment? A teleporting machine. That'd be nice. Thanks very much. Now, if you can't wait until next Friday and you'd like to walk a little bit further together, well, the extra mile is available for you. It should be available now. Now, this is why I say should, because I've been recording a few bits and bobs for a special Patreon edition, a special extra mile, and I'm hoping I will have uploaded that while I have been in the Gambia. I say hope, and I'm pretty sure I'll have been able to do that. If not, it'll be up over the weekend, but it'll be a sort of an early... Can you glimpse sound? You can't really glimpse sound. An early sample? No, sample's not the right word. An early listen to the to what's to come when we do a special Gambian edition. Our PS to the show is to come, but before that, we need a play-out song just to make some final frames to. I think about what's been said today, and come on, today, it's got to be a country tune, hasn't it? In deference to our friend Kevin Mullins, I was looking for a song that suited him and his approach to life. And I think I found one. It's from an artist called Claire Kelly. It's quite, it's a sort of more poppy kind of country. I hope Kevin will appreciate this. It's a song called Taste of Home, because I think that's what Kev does this photography thing for those that he loves most, his family. It's about the pictures, yes, of course it is. But it occurs to me that really it's for the opportunities that come through photography that gifts him more time to spend with those he really loves, his family, and being at home. Here's Claire Kelly.
Hungry for the road all my life, thirsty for adventure all my youth, chasing all my freedoms down Liberty Avenue. And every time I hear a phrase my mother used to say to me, everything happens for a reason, I get the feeling I need a little taste of home, 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 just a little taste of home. I need a little taste of home, home, home. I need a little taste of home. Nothing like kitchen conversation, steam coming up off the stove, photographs down the staircase showing our stories unfold. And every time I hear a song my father used to sing to me, sweet words of an Irish lullaby, I get the feeling I need a little taste of home, home, home. I need a little taste of home. Home, 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 just a little taste of home. I need a little taste of home, 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 no matter where I go. A little taste of home, home, home. I need a little taste of home. Just bought my ticket, I pick up the phone. tell you that I'm coming home. Home, 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 I'm coming home. I need a little taste of home, 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 I'm coming home. A little taste of home, 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 I need a little taste of home. Little taste of home, 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 I'm coming home. Home, 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 I need a little taste of home. Home, 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 just a little taste of home. Home, 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 I need a little taste of home.
That's Claire Kelly, and the song is called A Taste of Home. A light and airy piece of country music, definitely. I said last week, this year I want to explore the sort of more eclectic nature of photography, and that's what I intend to do. I did so enjoy, for instance, finding the world music from last week. Just a few closing thoughts before the PS. My sincere thanks to you. If you're about to become an extra miler, my promise to you is to keep building this community of kindness, a safe place to share our thoughts about this thing that we do, photography and walking. Now, on the show page, there are some very handy buttons that help you share the show. They're underneath the player. But also be sure to press that follow or subscribe button on your podcast app. So visit the show page today, photowalk.show. There should be some pictures from Kev on there as well, because we also always like to have a few pictures from those that we talk to or I talk to on this show. And then if you can share the show, that would be amazing. If you know somebody who might like to walk with us, just let them know. My thanks to Neil Ford, who looks after the IT, Andrea Gilpin, who's across Instagram, and Kelly Mitchell with Emily Renier, who look after our Facebook members. We need a postscript for the show. I did find lots of businessy kinds of quotes, which I thought could work. I mean, there's lots from Stephen Covey and people like Tim Ferriss, all those business mentors and gurus, but I wasn't sure. I mean, Kev's, of course, he is about working smart. He does whole workshops on it, but I found this instead. I found one that I hope you like, and I certainly hope Kev will like. It's from that great guru of self-awareness and transcendental thinking. And it brings the show nicely around in a circle too, because I mentioned her nearer the start. Today's PS is from Dolly Parton, no less. And it rounds off perfectly what I think Kev has been saying for the last hour and a bit or so. So from Dolly Parton, don't get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life.
The Photowalk is a Loading Zone production.